All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to have all of you joining this morning session on the remote management, enhanced production efficiency under the new normal. My name is Kacper Pierzynowski, and I'm a program manager for smart manufacturing in Southeast Asia at Business Sweden. And actually, this seminar or this webinar actually that we have in front of us is it's a result of joint collaboration throughout the years that both Team Sweden and FMM have established. We have been running several workshops around Malaysia, where we have been discussing the topics concerning Industry 4.0, increased automation, productivity, and automation. So obviously, with the current conditions that we are in, as much as we would love to meet all of you in person, right now it's not possible. So we are also going with the time and also going with the new way of working. And we are happy to have you here joining this session on a digital platform, which also allow us to actually interact cross-state, cross-border. So it's very nice to be able to actually have you here today with us. I mean, it's the last day of the first half of 2020, and definitely very eventful half a year from many dimensions. We've been faced with this challenging circumstances, which affected pretty much all of the parts of the economy. Pandemic, COVID, have forced the governments to impose lockdowns, MOCs across the countries, which evidently have impact on the supply chain production, and everybody has been affected. However, especially now in Southeast Asia, in APAC in general, we see that the situation starts to stabilize. We see businesses coming back on track and putting themselves into the recovery phase, and that's why we believe that this session that we have in front of us is very timely. So we really appreciate that so many of you could join. And today specifically we'll be focusing on this session on how to look on some of the solutions which will allow actually more, let's say, resilient recovery, to improve resilience first of all for similar disturbance in the future. As much of us being affected, that the more important things coming into picture is how to manage different functions, operations remotely. And today we have with us experts from two Swedish companies, Atlas Copco, that's been around for many years. It's a world leader and expert within the compressed air for over 60 years. We have also Monitor ERP that's been in Malaysia for several years and working actively with introducing the heart of the digitalization across the companies, which is the ERP. And yes, it will be very exciting to hear what type of solutions, technologies we could learn during this session that will allow you as a manufacturers in Malaysia to be more, let's say, prepared for any disturbance, and capable to actually maintain your machine parks, your operations, if needed, if required, remotely. And I'm very happy also that with us we have as introductory speakers our ambassador, Swedish ambassador to Malaysia, Dag Julin Danfeld, that was strong supporter of this program initiative, the collaboration we have established with FMM throughout the years. I'm very pleased also to have Mr. Jacob Lee online as well, chairman of FMM Industry 4.0 Working Committee, and also a big contributor to the new policy Industry 4.0 blueprint and strategy for Malaysia Industry Forward that's been introduced last year. And also Jacob Lee, for many years been heading the office of FMM Selangor branch. And also we have on a call Ms. Sarah Hadeen, our trade commissioner, business union trade commissioner to Malaysia, and that's a constellation of the experts that we have and the speakers. And before we start, I mean, most of you have already noticed that this webinar is being broadcasted as a live event. So don't be surprised that most of you are automatically being put it on mute. However, we obviously allow and we will enjoy the interactions. But if you have any questions during the course of the webinar, please post them into the chat box, and we will pick them up during the course of the session, and definitely we will try to address most of them. The ones that we will not be able to address in this session will be covered after the seminar, after the webinar. We will come back to you with clear answers. So without further ado, I would like to welcome for sharing some opening thoughts and remarks, His Excellency Dag Julin Danfeld.
Thank you very much, Casper. I hope everyone can hear me. If not, let me know. I'm speaking over the phone. You know? Start with salutations. I would like to express my appreciation to Mr. Jacob Lee, Chairman of the Industry 4.0 Committee of the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, as well as recognize the presence of Swedish Trade Commissioner Sarah Hadeen and her Deputy Trade Commissioner of Sweden, Kasper Pizunovsky. You know. Dear participants, friends, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, if somehow you don't hear me, send a signal to our friends at Business Sweden who will manage my voice transmission. We have to improvise. That's part of the game and very much part of the culture of digitalization and manufacturing. You know. Sorry. It's a great honor to welcome you to today's webinar on the journey towards a more digitalized and connected manufacturing sector, focusing on how to enhance productivity as manufacturing restarts in the new post-COVID-19 environment. The webinar is arranged in cooperation with the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers and Swedish companies in Malaysia, notably Monitor ERP System and Atlas Copco. This is the 7th seminar that Team Sweden in Malaysia is arranging on the phenomenon known as Industry 4.0 or IR 4.0. And along the journey, we've very much appreciate our long-standing partnership with FMM in this drive, you know, and as well as the encouragement of MITI and the concerned Malaysian authorities, among others, MIDA, MDEC, and InvestKL. And in addition to expressing my appreciation to the Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, I would also like to thank Business Sweden, the Swedish Trade Commission to Malaysia, for arranging today's webinar. Hopefully, we should be able to arrange the next workshop on digitalization and smart manufacturing in a more convenient physical meeting. And I do look forward to the 8th follow-up seminar, which I hope will not be a webinar, as it's far more conducive to meet physically than you know, over the web, even though it's a sign of the times to meet on web-based platforms. The previous pre-COVID-19 workshops that Team Sweden has had the privilege of arranging in Malaysia during the past 3 years are very much focused on the different facets of the phenomenon that we know as IR 4.0, with emphasis on the need for digital solutions in an increasingly competitive globalized economy, with interlinked and interdependent corporate structures. Connectivity has become a factor affecting competitiveness and of key importance to the ability to innovate, to increase productivity, as well as to facilitate startups and new entrepreneurships. The topic of digitalization is of even stronger pertinence in light of the COVID-19 experience with lockdowns, MCOs, etc., in large parts of the world. Considering that companies with a high level of digitalization tended to fare and do much better than less digitalized companies during the MCO and lockdown scenarios. Lockdowns globally also exposed how vulnerable manufacturing companies are when their global supply chains are disrupted and new barriers to trade and protectionist measures are introduced in the name of protecting national interest and popular health. There's also a trend to increased considerations of relocalization of manufacturing. That remains to be seen how they develop. But from a Swedish point of view, the Swedish government, Swedish business adamantly continue to defend the merits of a rule-based international trade regime, based on the concept of free trade. And this is very much based on the experience of the Swedish business, that a high level of digitalization makes it easier also to overcome the type of obstacles that a pandemic such as COVID-19 constitutes. And as COVID-19 will probably not be the last pandemics to hit us globally, it's digitalization is a good insurance for the continuation of business also in the future when new threats or challenges appear. While demand for the products and services of many companies was affected, production at digitalized companies was affected to a lesser extent during the MCO. Digitalization also facilitated the restart of business when markets reopened and shifted back to more normal business environments or quasi-normal business environments. At a meeting with Swedish companies in Malaysia some 6 weeks ago, I was very much surprised to learn that many of them had done rather well during the lockdown. They hadn't been affected that much as I had expected. And two of these companies who did manage quite well, surprisingly well by my evaluation, are with us today. Monitor ERP System and Atlas Copco. And both companies, a hallmark for both companies that they provide highly digitalized solutions in their respective fields of operation. And it was amazing to hear, for example, how an industrial company such as Atlas Copco managed to continue monitoring equipment supplied by the company and providing services on a working from home basis during the MCO. It's a very pleasant surprise, but it also showed or sent strong signals about the long-term merits and the flexibility created by applying digital solutions to manufacturing. As a result of having developed digital solutions, both Monitor ERP System and Atlas Copco are in a position to monitor and help their clients digitally, providing solutions from a distance that are nearly as good as traditional physical contact. Already before the COVID-19 experience, there were compelling reasons for companies to adapt to a changing business environment by adopting digital solutions to their production as a way to increase productivity and to stimulate innovation, and thus to maintain a competitive edge. Malaysia, a long-standing partner of Sweden, has a clear objective to move from traditional labor-intensive manufacturing to more value-added manufacturing and to grow its position on the international arena. And Swedish companies are engaged to become productive partners in this quest. This was inter alia emphasized specifically at the meeting that Trade Commissioner Sara Hedin and I had yesterday with YB Khairi Jamaluddin, a Minister of science, technology, and innovation. We very much emphasize the need for Malaysian corporates, notably SMEs, to increase digitalization and to digitalize their operations and reduce dependence on, for example, foreign labor in order to increase competitiveness. Innovation goes hand in hand with digitalization. Productivity, sustainability, efficiency are core values of Swedish manufacturing. And I believe that the Swedish companies present with us today, Atlas Copco and Monitor ERP System, will share valuable expertise and solutions in order to support Malaysia's vision of enhancing value-added manufacturing. Both companies are leaders in their respective fields, constantly pushing the cutting-edge limits of development to be on the technological forefront and thus remain internationally competitive. I very much look forward to today's webinar and to learn more about new opportunities for cooperation between Sweden and Malaysia. With these words, once again, I thank you for listening, and I thank our partners, FMM and Business Sweden, as well as Monitor ERP System and Atlas Copco for what they are going to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Always pleasure to have you and see the engagement and the commitment to this program. Obviously, very important area for Sweden and Swedish companies across different type of dimensions of the industry. So we are very happy to have the team joined together. To continue the exchange, the knowledge sharing with Malaysia, and we now very much interested to see and hear a little bit of an update and perspective from our partner FMM and Mr. Jacob Lee, please. Mr. Jacob, are you with us? I guess we have some small technical challenges, but Mr. Jacob, let us know if you can hear us. Okay, maybe in that case, while we try to solve this small bottleneck, technical bottleneck, I would, in the meantime, allow our Trade Commissioner to Malaysia, Sarah Hedin, to share a little bit of a perspective from Business Sweden, the Swedish Trade and Invest Council on the topic and the collaboration so far, and a little bit of a perspective how we see the future exchange. Please, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Casper. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good, very good. Great. Mr. Jacob Lee, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen online, it's a true pleasure to once again be here and be able to host an Industry 4.0 event in collaboration together with FMM. This time online. So as the ambassador mentioned, this is the 7th time that we are running this event together. And what strikes me with these seminars has always been, I would say, the level of participation and engagement. It is definitely a topic that engages. And what is most interesting, perhaps, is to see how the discussion and the topics have been evolving throughout, together with the overall transformation of Industry 4.0. So the first sessions that we held in 2017, they were more about, I would say, creating awareness. And at that time, we were talking about the definition of Industry 4.0. What is it? What is the idea and what is the vision of it? The presenters at that time painted a picture of what the next step in the development would be. And the benefits and the value, what we were talking, was maybe on an overall level, perhaps clear, but it was still quite abstract, at least I think for many of us, and at least for me, what will this lead to? What's in it? How will this help my business? And do I really need to transform? Now, only a few years later, most of you have in one way or another taken the first steps in the digitalization journey. And the connection between digitalizing the operations and the benefit that that will have on productivity, on cost, on customer satisfaction has become much more clear. And the discussions now in the sessions that we had the previous one in December, they were so much more related to, okay, so how do we do this? How do we execute on this? What are the first steps we should take and who should we connect with? So it's so fascinating it has been very fascinating to follow the shift and the transformation throughout these seminars. And late last year, we did a study in Business Sweden looking at the manufacturing trends in Southeast Asia. We reached out to around 300 local companies, whereof 50 were here in Malaysia. And what the report showed was clearly that we are in the epicentrum of where it is all happening in the world. In the past 20 years, the output generated in Asia has almost doubled. And last year, Asia accounted for 57% of the total manufacturing output globally. A lot obviously comes from China, but zooming into Southeast Asia, manufacturing is really the core of the growth and accounts for more than 20% of the region's GDP. And then if we look at Malaysia, we are aware of, that the country stands for a significant part of that manufacturing output, with 32% of the workforce share connected to manufacturing. In this report, we asked a total number of 300 respondents across the region about their readiness towards Industry 4.0. And in Malaysia, where we had respondents ranging all the way from SMEs to large corporations, we could see that 50% had already started to invest in different disruptive technologies. And they were mainly related at that time to automation and simulation technologies. There were, however, challenges highlighted. High cost and lack of technical skills were mentioned as two of the key barriers for investments. And this really indicated the need for scalable solutions and also a focus on upskilling of talents. So looking back to when we did this study, it was really clear that Industry 4.0, that the journey had really taken off in Malaysia last year, and it was no longer only a vision. However, there were still quite a few steps needed to become fully digitalized, and we were at that time looking at 2020 to make it happen. And then COVID happened. We heard the ambassador reflect a little bit about the impact throughout the past quarter, and if I also may reflect a little bit on how Swedish manufacturers in Malaysia have been impacted during the crisis. Like His Excellency mentioned, they have taken a hit, but it has not been severe. And it has been clear that majority of the Swedish companies in Malaysia are here for the long run, and they have managed to build up resilience. So what is this resilience based on? Well, there are a few things that have become clear. First, many of them have a strong local presence, and they have invested heavily in local talent. Second, they have built a local network and a good relationship with the authorities, and this turned out to be key and very important throughout the MCO. But then third, and maybe most importantly, thanks to their high level of digitalization, they managed to stay afloat during the crisis with quite limited disruptions. So clear examples of this digitalization were having the tools to directly starting to work from home, having high levels of automation in the operations, which meant less disruptions and especially now possibility to quickly regain traction once the MCO was lifted. And then, like we will hear from Atlas Copco and from Monitor, many of the companies have been able to serve their customers with remote services, which means that they have also managed to keep their customers' operations running. So the digitalization has really been the key success factor here. Another thing we have noticed during this period are the shifts in the regional supply chain. And this is something where we haven't seen, it's more of a long-term shift, and I think it will most probably accelerate after the pandemic, and we will still have to see what direction it will take. But some of the key trends that we see is the diversification of manufacturing from China. And this was something that was also happening before the pandemic, mainly due to the trade war. And here again, we will have to see to what extent the trend continues. But we can see clear examples only here in Malaysia, if we take Panasonic as an example, that they are shifting their production of US-bound auto components from China, now shifting that to Malaysia, Thailand, and Mexico. Another trend we see is going domestic, becoming more localized and reshoring instead of offshoring. So across the regions, we see markets now trying to attract investments from manufacturers to strengthen the domestic markets through stimulus packages, tax exemptions, etc. And then finally, becoming more resilient in the supply chain. So examples of becoming more redundant and simplify the supply chain. So for example, doing backwards integration to extend the control of parts throughout the production chain in order to secure the supply of bottleneck items and strategic items. And then also supplier redundancy to ensure that we create an excess and a backup capacity to maintain regular functions in the event of disruptions. So as we are still in the middle of the COVID situation, it is a bit too early to predict, I would say, where these more long-term trends, which direction it will take. But what we can see and what we can take away already now is how critical digitalization has been and will be going forward to both stay resilient and to stay strong. So with that, I would like to thank you and welcome you again to this webinar and hand over back to Casper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Lots of interesting insights and sharing from how we're reading the situation from the perspective of increased, let's say, changes in the supply chains. The studies that we've been proving that we are very much closely monitoring the development in the region, trying to understand different dependencies across the value chain and how to improve the resilience. And obviously in the current situation, this becomes even more critical to work closer to see how the supply chain is being integrated and how the Malaysian manufacturers could connect more thoroughly to the supply chain and how to maintain this flexibility across the whole value chain. So very interesting insights. And let's see if we have now a little bit more luck with connecting with Mr. Jacob Lee. Mr. Jacob, are you with us online? Perhaps you maybe are on mute. If you can try to unmute, and then we can definitely, hopefully, could hear you. Okay. Well, I see that still some challenges remains on that note. We definitely are very keen to hear from you, Mr. Jacob, during the session. But I think in order to maintain the given time allocation, we will get back to you shortly after the two of our experts that we have online, Monitor ERP and Atlas Copco, will share their perspective on the solutions and technologies that they've been working with that allowed their clients, the Malaysian manufacturers, to stay more resilient to the challenges through the remote functions and services, basically. So I have a great pleasure to introduce our first expert speaker, Mr. Daniel Hagmark, Southeast Asia manager for ERP Monitor Systems. Daniel, the stage is yours, please. Very curious to learn more about the solutions that you provide local manufacturers with.
Right. Good morning, everyone, and all FMM friends. I wish I could see everyone. I guess it's many familiar faces. As Sarah said, this is the 7th seminar, and I think we have been involved in all, maybe. All right. So today I will talk about the importance of have live data presented when we take decisions. We need to utilize current technologies to take advantage to have important data available all the time. So what I will talk about is our something we call MI, machine integration, to track OEE and also to work more efficiently from planning point of view and how you distribute the job down to the shop floor. I will start with a very short company introduction. Many of you probably have seen us before, but I take a quick one. And then I will share some common challenges, what we see when we visit local SMEs here in Malaysia, and also a bit what kind of solutions we can have. Then I will have a quick live demo to show how it can look like, and then some short recap. Monitor started 40 years ago by Mr. Åke Persson, who was an entrepreneur and production engineer that already in late 70s saw the importance to be able to use data from the shop floor. Today we are around 300 employees. We are still headquartered in Sweden, where we have 40% of the market share for small, medium-sized manufacturing companies. Since 2013, I have been based here in Malaysia, and we are now 43 people, including sales, consultant, development, and support. So we have our support center for the whole Asia here in Malaysia. So we deliver our software and services, which are 100% focused on manufacturing. And with our product Monitor G5, we serve around 4,700 companies around the globe. And we start to near almost 100 customers in Malaysia. So we see fantastic growth in Malaysia and this region. If we quick look, where does Monitor fit in? We often see this pyramid that describes a modern digital factory. Down on the field level, we have sensors and actuators and IoT applications. Next is the control level, the PLCs that create data sets for analyze. Then we normally have a plant level, often called MES, Manufacturing Execution System, where our operational data, stock handling, WIP, advanced manufacturing or production planning take place. And on top, they normally put this ERP, which covers supply chain, finance, sales, and so on. So where does Monitor fit in this? And with our name, we often indicates that we should be only on the top of the pyramid, but that is actually wrong. Because of our focus on manufacturing, we cover down to PLC level, so with our machine integration. So if we draw a line between field level and PLC, whatever you found above there, you have operation data, production planning, stock and traceability, OEE, supply chain, sales order, finance, all that you find in Monitor in one system. Common challenges that we see, many customers claim that they have good control of the master plan, and most customers claim that they can deliver on time. But the result later often shows there are difficulties to meet the promised delivery date. So why could it be like that? There are many reasons. For sure, hiccups in supply chain, maybe low quality, stock accuracy, and so on. But a very common reason is that we think we have more capacity than we have. We configure our work centers with the capacity based on feelings and not on facts. So, and we tend not to update the capacity over time. there are changes. You change people, you change tools. There are many things that affect the capacity in the machines over time, but we can see there are a lack of updating, keeping update the capacity that will help your planning. So this often leads to a lot of firefighting planning and prioritization. We need to adjust, change batch size often, change tools, which will affect the delivery dates quite often and leads more setup time and lower OEE and low delivery performance. So if we look at our capacity planning, and today we assume that our stock balances are correct and that we trust that our suppliers deliver on time, why can't we deliver on time? What kind of common issues and pattern do we often see when we analyze capacity related problems? So a good scenario, I would say, is, let's say, a CNC manufacturing company. If we look on one multi-purpose milling machine that you have bought for a couple of million ringgits, this particular machine can operate 12 hours per day, and we run, say, Monday to Friday, which give us an available capacity of 60 hours per week. But most companies, even if we have 60 hours available, it's a fact that we have machine maintenance, breakdowns, urgent rework orders, waste that will affect our actual capacity. So this we all often express as a percentage of the gross capacity, call it availability factor. This availability factor is often, we see, a value based on feelings and not on facts. So for example, if we have 12 hours a day with an efficiency factor of 80%, that means we should have a capacity of 48 hours per week. But in my experience, even 80% is more on a wish side rather than actual value. Another very important factor is the quality on our BOM and routing data. What is our setup times? What is our unit times? And how, especially how do we update them? It's quite often we are good to estimate them. We think one piece will take 1 minute. And maybe it takes 1 minute when we run the first couple of test runs. We have experienced guys and we are very focused when we run the test run. But later when we start to run production, it might take 1.5 minutes. So if we have a production order of a couple of thousand pieces, we will be a couple of days late if we plan on 1 minute. So this is a very common, companies don't have the data to accurately update the actual running times over time. So what tools normally available? We see how do we measure cycle times and so on. How do we report when we finish a manufacturing order? Most of the time, if we haven't moved far yet, it's written on a paper by the operators. And I would say quite often we only write the output. We don't write how long time does it take. And even if we write, it took me 60 seconds, the accuracy of this time is far too low. And the operators will not write. It's hard to trust the figures, so to speak. It's easy to write, it took 60, even to protect myself a little bit. So if we write it down, some supervisor will key in the system later, and this will also take time, most of the time. It's not real time, and we key in wrong, and the information we key in is not accurate. So this is not good enough. It will not give us the information we need to be able to both plan accurately, but also for the costing purpose. How long time do we actually spend on every product? So solution, we need a fully integrated system that can, down to the shop floor, tell us all this data. We need instant machine feedback. And this is when we use Monitor G5 in together with MI. We have full transparency on what you plan to do, what you do, and how you perform your planned tasks. So with MI, we get more accurate data, better possibilities to analyze what is our actual availability factor. How long time does our work take? So if we connect our ERP to the machines, we get very high quality data for post calculations as well. And we can see reasons for time loss. Why is my machine not operating at the capacity that we think? Which leads to better planning, machine utilization, and especially delivery reliability. We will be better planning, and we can early see if the cycle time is longer than planned, what sales orders might it affect. So collect accurate data. It's not just to see some flashy OEE dashboard. That is also nice, but with the accurate data, we can do so much more. We can take good decisions on facts and not feelings. And transparency and visualization of performance gives better and higher OEE, more engaged people on your shop floor and all over your company. So in certain industries where we have operators controlling multiple machines, for example, plastic injection molding, it could be valuable also to know how long time does it take for our operators to attend to a stop in the machine. It's quite interesting to analyze this data. We have done some analyzing. Why does it take much longer for our operators to attend to machine stops in the night shift compared to the day shift? So with that, I will jump over to show you how it can look on a shop floor. Sorry, I cannot do that. I must do it like this. I must reshare. There, right? So this is how it could look like. You can build up different dashboards that we can present both in the office and down on the shop floor. So in this example, we have 5 Mazak machines. And if we look on the first up to the left, we can see what manufacturing order are we running. And we can see a bar of the progress. How much do we have left? We can see current OEE and current cycle time compared to plan time. Machine number 3 here is stopped because of material shortage at the moment. Machine number 4 seems to report on setup time. We are setting up the machine. We are about to run this subframe. And our stamping machine, there we have a machine down. Below we can see the OEEs, which are live updated. We can put the mouse over to see more information. What is the planned quantity on the manufacturing order? How much have we run? How much is left? And what is the planned time left on this order? You can also have nice Gantt chart where we can see a rolling 24 hours, for example. So in my example here, I didn't run any night shift. The machine stopped at 5 and we came to work at 8:30. We reported some setup time and then we started our production again. and machine 3 have been down for material shortage since 9/31. So that is not good. This information you can have in the mobile as well. When you wake up in the morning, you immediately look, how did our night shift perform? So this is one example. We also have a built-in report generator, which is also web-based. So there are different ready-made or reports that I can run. So here is another example. This I can have emailed to me every morning, for example. I can see my first machine, plan run time was 8:29. My reported time was 6:85. Stop time 1:44. Setup time. And the OEE. So there are different reports that you can make, very easy, ready-made. We don't need to customize any reports. Another popular one is stop causes. Why have our machines been stopped 7.65 hours? It seems like the main cause is tool change. Maybe we need to look, why does it take so long time to make tool change? Maybe we can plan better to run same products together, so we don't need to spend so much time on tool change and setup time. A lot of time wasted. Material shortage. We have problems in our supply chain. We shouldn't wait for material. So this is very important data to have access to on real time, so you can take great, fast decisions and not wait for some report that will come in the best case manually end of the week or end of the month that you probably not even will read. The data is not trustworthy. This you can have on your TV or in your mobile continuously updated, so you can take fast actions. I will jump back. PowerPoint. All right. Okay, if we talk quickly some cost savings. If earlier we talked about better delivery reliability to customers, which is very important. If we don't deliver on time, we might lose our customer. But addition to that, we get better control of cost price. How much every minute in our machine cost is complicated and tedious to compile. But one of the most important figures is that how many productive hours we have in the machine for a year. So with productive hours, I mean how many of our hours can we charge to our customers through selling our products or services. The annual cost of operate our multi-purpose CNC machine includes direct labor, direct and indirect machine costs, and other operational overheads. So if we do one simple math, assume that our annual cost for a machine is 175,000 ringgit. If we work 12 hours a day, 260 days a year, this gives us 3,120 hours a year. So as you can see, it's a huge difference if we operate this, how we utilize the machine. If we only utilize it 60% compared to 80% or 100% might be hard to reach. But so by utilizing it 80% instead of 60, we will be able to use this machine 624 hours more, meaning 60,000 ringgit more time basically that we can run and produce and sell more products. So it is quite common. We think we buy another machine, we need more capacity, but it might in many cases not be needed and a waste of money, just brings on more overhead costs. Recap. operate with an integrated system gives transparency. This can be by using an integrated system. Display current operation status on dashboard will encourage staff, and it will create much more engaged workers. How come we report more rejects than the other team? They will start to compete if we have good visualized data on the shop floor. Allow remote accessibility, of course. It's important nowadays. How is my machines performing? I don't need to sit in the factory and go down on the shop floor to see that. I can see it when I wake up in my mobile phone. Base your decision on facts, not feelings, especially on collecting good data. How much are we using the machines? How much time does each part take to produce? And fast analyze the weaknesses, as I mentioned, tool change or setup time or wait for material. It's important to know the reasons why we have delayed orders or why we're not utilizing our machines as planned, which will increase the profit and much better calculations. We might find products that we sell too cheap or we could reduce and maybe sell more. One good example is a company called Atnesis in Penang, under UWC Group. They are using our machine integration for their CNC department. In the beginning, we saw huge fluctuations, but now it starts to be stable around 85% OEE, and sometimes they hit 94%. So they start to reach a world-class standard in terms of OEE, and they can see their workers are much more happy. It's better team feeling and clearer instructions, and easier for managers to prioritize and engage the employees with the correct facts. So with that, I say thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, just feel free to contact me or our team. Thank you very much, and I hand over back to Casper.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you. Very interesting sharing. Definitely important to emphasize on utilizing your assets in the right manner, especially in the current situation when cost optimization is critical in order to maintain healthy economy throughout the company. So definitely solutions that becomes of high relevance when you need to look of the optimization of the operations on the dimension of the floor and utilization of the capacity of the machines. Those fluctuation, as you mentioned, between the master plan that doesn't really reflect the reality is something important to keep in mind, that this is from the planning to executions. There are lots of areas where things can go a little bit sideways. That's why having an integrated solutions and technology in place will allow you to mitigate those different fluctuations throughout the production process, and also allow you to basically, as I understood, to be quicker responding to the changing customer demands, avoiding any delays in the production line, and also balancing the capacity in the right manner. So I guess something that is of a relevance for many manufacturers in Malaysia. So thank you very much again for sharing, and we hope for more exchange in the after the webinar where we can share even more discussion on that question. Okay, so thanks again, Daniel, for the presentation and sharing the demo. And now moving to our next presenters from Atlas Copco, Mr. Derek Devlin, the General Manager for Atlas Copco Malaysia and Singapore, and Mr. Danilo Talaguno, Aftermarket Business Line Manager at Atlas Copco Malaysia, Singapore, that will share more insights about SmartLink. Remote monitoring with SmartLink looks interesting already when I read it. So looking very curiously into the sharings from both gentlemen. So handing over to you, Derek and Danilo.
Okay, good morning, Your Excellency and Mr. Jacob, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to just explain a little bit about our modern equipment today. All of our compressors that we sell today, and all of the compressors in the marketplace, we install what we call SmartLink, which is a monitoring system, which can be on your telephone, can be on your laptop, in your monitoring system, can be anywhere where you want it to be able to get the data. So let me just give you a little bit of a video first on what is SmartLink.
SmartLink gives us insight into the compressors installed in the field, allowing us to bring immediate value to our customers, such as this medical device manufacturer in Finland. A warning from their compressor is sent to SmartLink. The compressor's integrated dryer freezes during the night. Data processing points at a possible ventilation problem. These diagnostics are shared with the Finnish customer center, prompting them to call the customer and ask him to check the compressor room ventilation. By simply switching the ventilation system to winter mode, shutdown and repair costs are avoided. SmartLink helps customers every day, supporting the continued safety, reliability, and efficiency of their compressed air system.
So basically, SmartLink is a data monitoring system which is taking all the readings from the sensors that we have in the compressors and the dryer packages that we install in the customer's situation. And we can remotely monitor that data. As you can see from there, what we try to do is to preempt any issues. In the video, you saw that actually the Atlas Copco Customer Center called the customer up in the morning and advised him that he had a potential problem. We didn't even need to go to site to fix that problem, and that's quite a common situation, that we monitor these machines running during the 24 hours, and we can trend issues. So we can see if there is simple faults. We can see if the water temperature is rising, so that gives us an indication that there could be something wrong with the customer's water system. So all of these trends help us to monitor the customer's machines remotely. That data is also transmitted to a dedicated telephone for the customer. He has an app on his telephone. It can go to the maintenance manager, it can go to the production manager, and they can see the same alarms that you get on a compressor. So it helps us to monitor, it helps us to improve the production uptime, and that's the important part, is to help the customer. The box is basically a GSM module, although we do have one where we can connect to customers' LAN. But predominantly it's a small box, which is added on to the retrofit on older compressors. But today, all our new equipment is installed with the controller, which already has this chip installed inside them. They're all there, it just needs to be activated. So every single machine that we make today that has our controller, or our, what we call our Mark V touch and swipe controller, it's pre-installed. So the system is there. We see this as such an important part that we don't even offer it as an option. It's there. What we do is we try to optimize the operation of the customer using this SmartLink data. I'll just give you another quick demonstration of another video. You can see rather messy office. This is obviously somebody in production. It's not in maintenance, so it will be nice and clean and tidy. But have a quick look at this and see how you see the difference here.
For an operational manager like Marco, worries about the continuity of his production process are never far away. What if a breakdown occurs with a sudden loss in productivity? And what about high energy bills? Is it any wonder that Marco finds it hard to relax? With SmartLink, Marco's compressed air supply is under control. Marco gets maximum uptime as the health of his compressed air installation is monitored and service is scheduled ahead. Marco gets maximum efficiency as SmartLink analyzes the energy performance of his compressed air installation. This helps Marco save on his energy bill. Service follow-up, efficiency, machine health. Marco gets all the insights he needs on a user-friendly interface. Marco gets this anywhere, anytime. Stop worrying about the continuity and efficiency of your production. Get smart. Get SmartLink.
So you can see there that it does have a great advantage into production. It makes it a lot more informative for the production engineer. It makes it a lot more information at your fingertips. You know, we offer basically 3 different types of service for SmartLink. You know, it depends on what the actual customer wants. As I said there, it's already pre-installed in every machine we make today. But the services that we provide are split into 3 levels. Basically, what we call SmartLink service is a basic. It's giving you the pressures, the temperature warnings on a service dashboard, so that you can actually get a warning, a remote warning on your telephone or a remote warning on your laptop of an issue with the equipment. You get service timeline reports, which is giving you the planned service jobs, when they should be done, when they need to be scheduled, or whether you should be calling up to the Atlas Copco service to be able to do that. You also have a simple list of all the machines there, which tells you, again, the same thing. So when the machine is service is needed, how many hours the unit has been running, what is the efficiency of the machine. So it's giving you the energy efficiency of that piece of equipment, telling you, if it's connected or if it's not connected. So this is the basic service that we offer. We give this to every single customer on a new machine for a trial period of, depending on the customer, but normally 3 to 6 months. So they can see the use of this, which is the enticer into showing them what's more and what more we can do. Then we go on to the next option, which is what we call SmartLink Uptime, and this is giving us a more deeper report on the operation of the compressor. It's giving the optimization of how long the machine is running for, what is the uptime of the equipment. It gives all the capabilities, all the data from the machines that are connected. You get on this one, you can send an SMS or an email, which is pushed out to the nominated addresses, so that you can define what's happening with the machine. You can see everything on it. It gives a status report. The health status report is based on the running conditions of the equipment. The maintenance is done on time, if it's done timely, if it's done correctly, if it's all done in the right way. So you get a capability of seeing what the health of the equipment is. Then we go on to the last one, which is basically what we call SmartLink Energy, and this is the top of the tree. This is basically the previous 2 comments, or the 2 sections that we've done. That's all there as well. You get all of that information, so the performance of your equipment, the alarms, the remote indications, all the trends and everything from there. But we get reporting capabilities now. So we have dashboards which we will be able to monitor the energy and the performance KPIs of the equipment. So we're monitoring on SmartLink Energy how much energy is used to create the air that's needed in the facility. So we monitor that based on different pieces of equipment. You can say that, you know, on night shift and day shift, a lot of customers have different demands. So one of our things today that we're selling equipment on is to make sure that we understand what the customer's demands are. Sometimes night shift is using a lot less air than they are during day shift. So you monitor that, and we can monitor that performance on the SmartLink Energy. So we have got a trending graph where we monitor the pressure, the dew point of the air. We can trend any data that we think is important or the customer thinks is important for his operation. He needs to make sure that he's got dry air, so he wants to measure the dry air and monitor that over a period of time. So this trending graph gives exported data capabilities for the production manager, for the maintenance manager, to show his management team how efficient the equipment is. There is reports which can be created, so downloaded and customized whichever way the customer wants it from the data that's in the equipment. On the report is there, so whatever way you need to report to your management team about your air network, you've got the capability to do this. One thing also, a lot of things to do with energy efficiency is that a lot of customers and companies today, they require energy reports. They need to know how much energy they are using. So we customize this based on what the customer's needs are, and we can create most energy reports which are compliant with virtually every single customer's needs. So he has a quick way of giving this report, whether he's giving this to the energy manager or it's a requirement that is coming from the government today, because governments are also very much interested in how much energy you can save. So SmartLink Energy is a very, very good tool which gives the capabilities to report the data, to report what the performance of the machine is. And it's trended over a period of time, so you can actually see also the health of the equipment, because you take the temperature of just like you take your temperature, you take the temperature of the air discharge from a compressor, and you monitor that over time. If it is rising, something is going wrong. It's the same as we have today with ourselves. We take our temperature every day today. If we go above 37.5, we know that we've got something wrong. Hopefully it's not COVID-19, but we're doing it very much the same way with compressors for many, many years. So Smart Energy, it's a very, very good way of giving data, giving information, and being able to monitor the health of compressed air systems. So we can create all this data, and we can create it in a multitude of ways. And the data, as I said, can be customized to what the customer needs, but we also have access to that data as well. So we are monitoring ourselves, our equipment. So if we have customers which are on maintenance agreements, we monitor that data. We monitor what the compressors are doing, because we can preempt problems. Like the very first video in Finland, where you saw the machine was freezing during the night. We wouldn't have that issue in Asia, obviously, because it's a little bit warmer. But in Finland, during the evening, it can get very, very cold. And certain times the condensation in the equipment can freeze. So that's a quick link that prevented the breakdown, prevented the customer having an additional cost of a service technician visiting him. And these are the things that we do, and we monitor this on SmartLink, on the data that we have, which we see on the dashboards. We have a live demo. I would like to get Danilo to go through the live demo and show you exactly what data we collect, what information we have. There is some information here from the operation, because this is running in many customers already in Malaysia and in the whole of Asia. But we'd just like to show you one customer. We've hidden out the name of the customer so that we don't get into trouble to show who it is, but it's a real customer, but we just changed the name of the customer temporarily. We will change it back, but so I'd like to hand it over to Danilo, and I'm sure that he can go through this and show you exactly what we do and what is the customer's view.
Good morning. So this is basically SmartLink. This is the dashboard. And if you look at here, I am using the name of Christopher. And this is for one of the customers that we have here. Now, in the dashboard, what we will see is the condition of the machine, which is ZR250 VSD. It says here in the last 30 days, when it comes to energy efficiency, it's good. So the last 7 days is good. Yesterday is also good. Now, it is optimal if the joules per liter is less than 357. Yeah, and also on the uptime, in the last 30 days, it's 99.86%. So optimal means if the availability of the unit is more than 99%. And if it is between 98 and 99, it's good, but we declare it low if it is less than 98%. But for this machine, it says that there is a small risk of sudden breakdown because one of this machine is already due for maintenance. Now, if we look at all the machines that we have connected for these customers, they have CR250. Okay, they have 3 machines. Sorry, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. Now, if we look at one of these units, say the CR275. Now, from this CR275, you will be able to see the operating parameters, just like when you go to the machine. Like you see the serial number of the machine type, the availability of this machine in the last of its lifetime, and then if you see how it is being used. So this machine has been running for 55,000 operating hours, which is approximately 15. If it is running 8,000 hours, then approximately 15 years. Sorry, about 13 years. Then the loaded hours is 53. Now this is the dashboard. Now we can create a trend as well. If we create a trend, in this case we can create a new trend, or I have pre-made the trend for temperature. In this case, if we look at the trend for temperature in the last 30 days, then we will have it here. So in this example, you will see the compressor outlet temperature. And from here, you will see that this machine has not been running from June 1 until June 25. And then it runs yesterday, sorry, in the 25th until today. And the temperature is about 50 degrees C. So it tells us that this machine is okay. And then we can also see if the element outlet temperature of this compressor is from here, we can see that the temperature is 200 degrees C, and normally the temperature of this compressor is about this value. Now, if we look at, so all the operating parameters of a compressor can be trended, and we can have a graph, and we can export it to Excel file or PDF file. Now, if we look at the machines, these are the unit that is connected to us. And then if we look at service, these are the machine's service requirement. Now for this machine, the CR250 VSD, we stopped this unit. This is due for servicing the last 3 weeks. But all the machines here that is connected, this will be due for 3 weeks. This will be due for 3 weeks. And the other one will be due in 11 weeks. So that means if we know the requirement of the machines for maintenance, then we can plan well. We can discuss with purchasing. We can discuss with end users that the machine is due. So planning for the maintenance and stopping the unit would be done together with the end user. And for these machines, there is an active event. If we look at here, back office communication lost, so that means this CT160 is lost. So then we need to advise the end user to check why it is being lost, because mostly it is communication. Now also in the general warning here that service level is required. Then if you look at what is the required, when it is required, when it is generated, then you will see the operating parameters of the machine here. So every operating data will be here, and it will tell you why it is being needed. Now, if you look at the KPI of the machine, normally it will tell you the usage of these machines in the last 30 days. But you can also change it if you want to look at if it is in the last, for example, the last 365 days. It will change. Now, it tells you here that the utilization of this machine is low. That is the reason for this is because of this COVID-19 shutdown in the last 3 months. It was being shut down, but it was running pretty well in the last 30 days. So that's why here you can see that the utilization is higher. Now also in the uptime, it's loading. It tells us here that all the machines is almost 100% utilization from June 1 until June 29. So it just have some this machine because it is not available. And if you look at which machine is not available, it will tell you here that for the total there are 5.9 days that machines are not available, and it tells you that this BD300 is not available for 1.7 days, and also this CT275 is not available for 4.2 days. So basically, it really tells you what is the status of the machines for every one of them. And if you look at the energy, now it tells us here the specific energy requirement for these machines. For all the machines that we have here connected to a smart link from May 31 until June 29, 2020, because this is the last 30 days. We can also have it in the last 365 days. And below you will find out the individual efficiency of all the machines that is connected to the unit. So basically what we can have here is that we can monitor the machine, whichever machines that you have here. Okay, whichever machine that you want to monitor, you want to check, you can have. And on the events that was shown here, when this was generated, a notification was sent to predefined person from the end user side, and also predefined person from the Atlas Copco side. So normally there are 3 persons from Atlas Copco that is receiving this one. Our service supervisor will be receiving this this notification. Our service manager will also receive the notification, and our planner also will receive the notification. And then we will inform if this machine is not under service contract, then we will inform the salesman. If this machine is under service contract, then it will go to the planner, and the planner will get in touch with the end user to plan for the next visit. That is the and for us, because I'm using the admin rights, I would say if in Malaysia, these are the machines that is connected now. These are the companies that is connected now with the Smart Link. There are a lot of them. I will not go through because I'm not allowed to show you one of these customers, unless I have the agreement from them that I will show this. So I can only show this one. And that would be it for the demo.
Okay, so thanks, Danilo. So as you can see there's a lot of information that's created in these reports. I think it's very, very important today to know in a facility there what your energy efficiency is and what is your optimization of your equipment, and overall, to planning as well for maintenance. So the maintenance today is important to do the right maintenance at the right time, and SmartLink helps the customers and helps us to be able to do it more efficiently, to be able to do it in a timely manner, So it's a good thing to do. So energy efficiency, as I said, there is very, very important, and I'd just like to leave a presentation on a little note on that. That today we have a lot more equipment which is capable of running efficiently. So hopefully that we do our, as Sarah said there, the 8th seminar. So I would like to hope that in the 8th seminar maybe we could show some issues or some points to do with our energy efficiency and how we've improved the efficiency of our equipment over the years. So on that note, thank you very much for your time, and I hand it back to you, Casper. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Derek. And thank you, Daniela, for sharing the demo and more insights around the SmartLink. Seems to be a very exciting solution that allows, as you mentioned throughout the presentation, to actually keep your machine healthy, keep the machine park healthy, to optimize it in a right manner. What else is the capabilities that brings are basically to being capable to monitor it. Similarly, as a monitor ERP solutions, both your solutions allow to actually have a good overview of the status of the machine park to optimize it in the right manner. And as mentioned before, important nowadays when the cost optimization is sort of a keyword. You would like to rather reduce your expenditures related to the fixed assets, to the machine park, which you basically need to keep and maintain in a healthy state in order to remain the competitive edge throughout the supply chain. I also like the fact that there are already so many Malaysian manufacturers that actually have recognized this as a not much of a choice, but as a standard or things that they are already working closely with, proving that the solution are making the change, making the difference in the production, and making the opportunity to actually maintain the cost on the right side. After all, the investment towards the Industry 4.0 and all the technologies that this entails, after all, should result in increasing the efficiency. And you can increase the efficiency in two manners. One being obviously reducing the cost, and then automatically the productivity also goes up, which is so important and in line with the aspiration of also let's say progressing towards more value add productions. And yes, unfortunately we still haven't managed, or I know that Mr. Jacob is online. However, there are unfortunate challenges related to share the audio, which we very much regret. However, I managed also to talk with Mr. Jacob in the meantime, and we are already setting up a plan for continuous collaboration with FMM across, hopefully maybe in the more conventional manner next time, being in the physical setting. So please, everyone, stay tuned for more communication coming from our side, from the FMM side. We really see a great momentum in Malaysia and the manufacturing sector to engage even more. So also resonating that what Derek mentioned about eyeing already for the 8th series of the engagement, the program that we are running with FMM. We will get back to you in good time in advance to invite you. We will see. Will it be still in the digital manner, or hopefully in the physical, or in combination? I guess it's always good to have a personal interactions. But yeah, this is also new way of working and a bit new normal. as the phrase came sort of as a natural now, the new normal. So I guess both, as I know, both Monitor and Atlas Copco are running also dedicated webinar sessions on their different topics. So also please stay tuned on more information coming from both Monitor ERP system and Atlas Copco about upcoming events, also from our side. And yes, without further ado, thank you very much everyone for joining and contributing to this session. And we definitely look forward to see you next time in Malaysia, either digitally or physically. Thank you so much for listening and for tuning in, and we stay in touch. We will revert to you with some follow-up emails from both our ends and the company ends. So also please look into your mailbox for more engagement and exchange in the topic of remote monitoring and other areas that we will soon be posting on throughout the different channels. So thank you once again, everyone, and have a great afternoon. And looking forward to the second half of the year, hopefully with a bit more tempo and momentum. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay.